Hey everybody, so today I wanted to do a chit chat video. It's been a while and I just have a lot to fill you guys in on. And I have a feeling that these chit chats might start being a little bit more formal just because I've found a routine in my filming. Like filming all on one day works really well for me and my family, and that way I'm able to be consistent on YouTube. I'm able to get stuff done when I need to get it done, and it just seems to work the best. But if you would like these chit chats to be a little bit more impromptu, see me without makeup, with a messy house and stuff like that, let me know. Because if you guys really want to see like that side of me, I'll try to make these chit chat videos more just on the fly and not when I'm sitting down. Because when I do my sit down videos, I make sure that I look nice, I look put together. But with the chit chat videos, you guys know in the past that I've said like I feel a lot more like comfortable to show myself on there. So just let me know what you guys prefer. But yeah, there's just been a lot going on, so I wanted to hop on here and fill you guys in. And this first thing, I went back and forth a lot about talking to you guys about, because I really couldn't decide if I should or shouldn't talk about it. And basically it's about trying to conceive. So most of you probably know that we have been trying to conceive since January. Well, I mean, it's only barely February, but like in January we started trying to conceive. And I went back and forth on whether or not to talk about this, because if we did conceive in January, you guys obviously wouldn't know for a few months until we announced pregnancy and whatever. But then if I didn't get pregnant, I talked about it in the months that followed. If I did the same thing, you guys would basically know when I would get pregnant, because I wouldn't be coming on chit chat videos saying, oh, we didn't get pregnant. So it was like, I didn't want to do something that would give away a pregnancy, and I don't know, I just like had all these different feelings and emotions and thoughts about it. But the reason why I'm going to talk about January's month, and I think it'll be the last time unless anything crazy happens, is because it was such a whirlwind of emotions. And I'm just gonna lead it off with, I'm not pregnant. January did not take. And the reason is because I think I'm just a little amateur in this area. My ovulation is not when I think it is. Basically, you know, I have a pretty textbook period. I have a 28-day cycle. I have a 7-day period. Like very, very textbook, very regular, nothing really out of the norm at all, ever. And up until about 6 months ago, my symptoms for my period were always the same. It was basically headaches and backache before my period and cramps, both of those things combined, and a couple of zits on my chin. That would be the extent of my symptoms during my period. And for the past, I've been getting my period since I was 13, so 11 years of my period, that is exactly how it's been. And I think I've honestly taken that for granted a little bit, because starting about 6 months ago, I started noticing that my symptoms were different. You know, I have thought I was pregnant on and off because I would be super nauseous, or I would be emotional, or like just all these different things that didn't have anything, what I thought, to do with my period, because those weren't my signs and symptoms. But, you know, you can get a period for 11 years and things can change. So this past month was actually different, but no different. Different in the sense of I had completely different symptoms, but no difference in the sense of they were apparently just period symptoms. So this past month, I did have my headaches, but they were only happening at night, which is weird, because if it's my period, it really just doesn't matter what time of day it is, it'll always be hurting. But I also started getting like tender boobs. I was super emotional, like super, super emotional. And I just felt like a lot of weird abdominal stuff going on before my period. Like normally I don't have any of that. It's just during my period. And I got my period. So it was a little disappointing, because I shouldn't say a little, it was disappointing, because I really thought I was pregnant, because those symptoms only happen when I am pregnant. Like I am super emotional when I'm pregnant. My boobs hurt like pretty much the entire time. And I don't know, it was just like, it was a bummer, because I thought these were for sure signs of pregnancy, because my period really has only been a certain way, but it's not. It's just apparently my period is just changing with time, which I should have known could happen. Like nothing is always static and the same, but I don't know. It's just, it was a really big bummer. It was also a bummer because my ovulation isn't apparently happening when it's supposed to. But, you know, I do have a textbook cycle of 28 days, 7 days long, so technically I'm supposed to be ovulating on day 14. Well, I started taking ovulation tests literally the day after my period, which I know is crazy, but my period app had told me to do that. And in previous trying to conceive cycles, I've used ovulation tests, but I had no idea what I was doing. This time I knew, and I was also using like just the little test strips. I wasn't using digitals, and it was really maddening to see so many negative results for so long, but it was because I was testing so early, and I'm like I said, I'm a total amateur at this. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was getting annoyed because day 14 came and went and it was a negative, flat out. It wasn't even getting darker in the least. And then came day 15, it was a little bit darker. And sure enough, I ovulated on day 17. So I'm wondering if we do end up getting pregnant, kind of following this and seeing when I ovulate and if I am ovulating later. I'm wondering if that's been our struggle all along. Like with our first pregnancy, it took us a long time to get pregnant, and I'm wondering if it's because I was just going off of what the apps told me. And my app said that I should ovulate on day 14, and if I was not taking those ovulation tests, I wouldn't have known that I had ovulated later. So they wouldn't have known to do any different. This month they are calculating that I'm going to ovulate later. So I don't know. It was just like, it was a month of realizing I do not know as much as what I thought I know about like my cycle and my period, and it just like, it made me feel a little scared, honestly, and it made me feel like I think I've taken for granted my regular period and how easy things have came for us in the past. Okay, I'm good to talk. The girls are in Sophie's bedroom with Dad, and there must have been a little mishap, so Remy started screaming. But no, I just feel like I've taken for granted the things that have come naturally to us. And with this month, and I mean, it wasn't even bad. Like, I ovulated, we tried, and things weren't crazy, and it's not like there's a difficultness really to it. It just kind of opened my eyes to like how much worse it could be, how much I've taken for granted just the ease of things that have came to us before, and how much I feel for those people who like month after month, year after year have to deal with that are so much worse. Because I know there's women who don't ovulate, who do everything perfect, they can't get pregnant and stuff like that. And I think being actively trying to conceive, it's just, you know, it's made me more aware and like more sensitive to people who are going through that, because I couldn't imagine. Like, it has to be so emotionally exhausting. So if you're out there, if you're struggling with trying to conceive, my heart goes out to you, because I cannot begin to imagine. But you're obviously very strong if you are going through this month in, month out just to try and have a baby. So you are a superwoman to me. But I did want to kind of talk about it just because it was like something that consumed kind of the whole month, trying to track the ovulation and then obviously the testing and stuff like that. And the testing, I think Mark and I are actually going to find out together this time. When we were trying to decide stuff, like, we have never known exactly when I ovulated. You know, like I said, I was using ovulation tests, I think, the very first time we got pregnant, but I wasn't using them right. I had no idea, like, I had no idea what I was doing, basically. And the digitals, I think I only ever got one positive result on the digitals, but I was also only using them once a day, and who knows if I was even using them right. Long story short, we never knew like my pinpoint ovulation day, so we never knew when I should exactly test. I really did wait for a missed period most of the time, but this time we did try testing early and they were all negative, and it was around like 11 days past ovulation when I still wasn't even getting like a faint positive or anything. I was like, I'm almost 100% sure that this cycle didn't take, and it didn't, which was a bummer, obviously, and I was really upset by it just because we have been working and waiting for this for a long time. So I think just my emotions were built up about it, and I was so hoping that like we'd be fortunate enough to get it right off the bat. But you know, it doesn't happen for everybody, and I mean, it's only 1 month too, so I don't want it to seem like I'm complaining. I know so many other people have it worse, obviously, like I just said. You know, my heart goes out to you guys, but you know, it was it was an interesting month with the trying to conceive, but I did go back and forth because I wanted to just kind of talk about it, because that was a majority of what my month was, is figuring out my cycle and apparently how it's changed and all this, well, changed to me at least, and you know, all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I don't think I'll be doing this in the future. You know, if February doesn't take, March doesn't take, I don't know that I will be talking about it, just because I don't want it to be a dead giveaway if I'm not talking about a cycle not taking, that we're pregnant. But, you know, I'm sure if we do go months and, you know, nothing's working, I'll eventually want to talk about it, because, like I said, that's just got to be emotionally exhausting. And I love talking to you guys about stuff. Like, I feel like in the comments of my chit chat videos, I feel like that's really where I connect with people the most, you know, because we're just like talking about our lives, and I love doing that with you guys. So that was a majority of what like my month was spent doing. I was also spending most of the month in defense of trying to keep the kids as healthy as possible, because some of you might know that we've been waiting forever to get their well visits in, and we finally got them, guys. We finally got them in. They got up to date on everything. I'm so relieved, because I was so worried that at the last minute they'd get sick and we'd have to reschedule them. It was supposed to be Sophie's 3-year well visit, and it was supposed to be Remy's 18-month well visit, and we were 3 months past both of those, because that happens in October for both of them. But the nurse assured me that it's like completely normal. So many people get off track and you'll catch up eventually and stuff, because I was hoping to do Sophie's sooner, you know, like schedule it in October next time she needs her 4-year well visit, but it has to be in January for insurance purposes. But she was like, you know, it's completely normal for people to get off track, and trust me, you're going to catch back up. Your kids will get sick, we'll have to push things, and you'll eventually end up in October again. So that was kind of interesting. But just being there, it's totally like reminded me how glad I am that we have changed pediatricians, how much I love our new pediatrician. You know, I feel like, if I'm being honest, I'm a nervous mom. I try my best not to let my kids see that. I try to be like cool, calm, and collected around them, because I don't want them to pick up on my nervousness or my anxiety about stuff. But I know that's probably inevitable. But you know, especially when it comes to their health, I am a very nervous person, and especially with the flu going around, and you just hear these horror stories of kids going to sleep and not getting back up, and it just freaks me out. I know this flu season is no worse than any other flu season, at least in America, that's where I am, but it is still something that I worry about. And I do my best. I try to make sure, especially during the flu season, that the girls get their vitamins every day. I try to get orange juice at the store every time and make sure they're having a little bit every day to have like real vitamin C. I try to make sure that, you know, they're sleeping well, they're eating well, and that we don't go out unless it's absolutely necessary. But still, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, is there anything else we can do? And my old pediatrician, nothing against her, she was amazing. We did love her, but she was also kind of like a nervous person. You know, like when I would be nervous about something, she would be just as nervous, if not nervous more. More nervous, nervous more. But, you know, it was like, I can't have that. I can't have that in a medical professional. I need someone who can balance me out and like kind of pull me back a little bit. And we've been through 3 different pediatricians trying to find the one that works best for us. And it's taken a while to know like what we like as parents and what we feel like is a good fit. Our first pediatrician was really relaxed. Like, she was the complete opposite of me. So that really didn't work, because I didn't feel like she always took things as seriously as I did, and I am, you know, the mother of her patients, and, you know, I wanted to feel heard and validated. So that's why we went to our second pediatrician, and she was a little bit too, like, on the complete opposite of that pediatrician spectrum, and she was a little too nervous about everything and was a little too urgent about stuff, in my opinion, and it ended up scaring us a lot of the time when things really weren't that serious. And I appreciated that, because she's obviously a huge advocate for her patients and just wants to do well by them. But for me personally, I can't spend my entire life like nervous through the roof about my kids. And that is where I feel like this new pediatrician, she is just so amazing. You know, she was like totally candid with me about the flu, which I totally appreciate honesty. I love that. I will never get my feelings hurt by honesty. But at the same time, she kind of like gave me facts, but she reassured me about stuff while being honest. I don't know, it's like hard to explain it if I don't just tell you the entire conversation, but she was personal, but she reassured me, but at the same time she said, you know, sometimes there's nothing we can do. And it's like, that's a scary thought, but at least like it's good to know I'm not the only parent thinking it, you know, because it'd be nice if we could stick our kids in a bubble and nothing could ever harm them, but that's not the reality of life. And I think as a parent, that's what makes me nervous, is because I know there's going to come a time and a place where something bad might happen. And that's just, you know, no parent ever wants to think about that stuff. We want to protect our children. That's just like what the most basic instinct of a parent is to protect our kids. So just being there, I loved them. The staff is so nice. I was running a few minutes late and I called and she was like, oh, don't worry, honey, you know, it's gonna be, you know, like just totally relaxed and cool. Not at all what the other pediatrician's office was. If you guys haven't watched other chit chat videos, it was just the staff at the other office that was off for us. They weren't very friendly, they weren't very nice to the girls, but the pediatrician was amazing. So we changed offices mainly for the staff and the kind of experience we had with that kind of stuff. But I'm so glad that we changed. It's just so much more comfortable. You know, there's no like dirty looks or eye rolling or passive aggressiveness. It's just friendly people who want to take care of your kids, which is just amazing. So if you have a pediatrician and you're not in love with them, I highly recommend it, because I just feel so good about knowing that everything about this office is something that I'm comfortable with my kids being around. We pay money towards this, so it's like, you know, it's an investment in your health, and you want to make sure that you're the most comfortable, you're getting what you want, and I feel so much better now. But the girls are all healthy. They got, like, I don't even want to tell you their stats though, because I basically told you guys in that Remy's update video. They didn't change, obviously, because that was just like, I think a couple weeks ago I filmed that. So nothing's really changed, and everything I pretty much knew, because I try to track their weight and height every once in a while just to see how they're doing. And they've been pretty good. We are going to make dermatologist visits for both the girls. Sophie has a couple of warts on her fingers that I'm just hoping that we could do something about, just because I don't want them to spread. And then Remy, her eczema is just, it's, I don't want to say it's getting out of control, because I know eczema can be very, very bad, like really bad. But hers, she's just having a pretty intense flare-up, I guess, like, and it's not getting better. So the pediatrician just recommended for both the warts and for Remy's eczema to go see an actual dermatologist. So, and as far as my schooling goes, I am completely finished. I just have to take the exam, and I'm pretty nervous about it, because I just feel like I learned so much, but I feel like now that I'm going to take the test, I can't remember any of it. So I've been spending the past week and a half to like just study it, just study all my notes, my textbook and everything. So that's really what I've been trying to do. I don't know, I feel really nervous about taking it, and this is exactly how I felt before my cosmetology state boards. Like, I was like physically ill before I took my boards, and even while I was taking it, I was a nervous wreck. But then, you know, I get the test results back and I pass. So hopefully, you know, this time it's just the same. But nothing else has really been going on. You know, Mark's doing good, the girls are doing good, I'm doing good. And yeah, we're just kind of trying to stay indoors, stay healthy. I think that's the extent of it. And I've talked really long about the two things that matter. I'm just going to answer some questions really quickly off of my last one. And just because I'm thinking of this one, I know that somebody asked me how I get alone time to do these sit down videos, and that is because Mark will take either just Sophie or both the girls into Sophie's room and he watches them in there. So I have to wait for him to either get home, or like today's Sunday, so it's his day off, and I'm filming extra early because I have a baby shower to go to after this. But typically it's normally on Saturdays or Friday that I film. I wait for him to get home and then he'll go ahead, and typically if it's when he gets home, Remy's napping, so a lot of the times it's just him and Sophie in her room. But like today it's early, so both the girls are in the room with him. But I also had gotten asked, how did I handle the exhaustion of a third trimester while having a toddler? And honestly, with Remy's pregnancy, nothing was as rough as the first trimester, and like I would say even the first half of the second trimester. I was sick for a really, really long time with Remy. Just like, I wouldn't even call it morning sickness. It was basically all day. Like I would vomit quite a bit, but like honestly, it was just really bad nausea. Yeah, the exhaustion of third trimester never really hit me. I'm not really a person who feels tired really any of the time, honestly. I can run on very little sleep, but the first trimester, I'm always super, super tired. Like I could take naps, I'm that tired. And I mean, typically I run on 4 to 5 hours of sleep just on an average day. So it doesn't really bug me that much. But the first trimester, long story, even longer, the first trimester is rougher than the third trimester. And with that, I just laid on the floor with her. You know, she was only like 9, 10 months old, and she would have been a little over a year by the time I started feeling better. And she was still a baby. She still wanted to play and crawl and whatever. So I just laid down with her on the floor, and I interacted with her. If I was having a moment of nausea or something, I would just still lay there. And I mean, I just basically spent that time laying on the floor and trying to do what I could with her. But there were days where I had to sit there and lay there with a blanket over my face because my migraines were so bad, or with a bucket on the other side of the couch in case I threw up and stuff like that. But you just kind of make it do. Like I just tried to do my best, and I didn't try, I didn't want to be hard on myself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I knew that, you know, I'm growing a little human. I'm also taking care of a little human. So you just got to do your best, you know, and you're not going to win any perfect mom awards. But I mean, I don't win any of those as a non-pregnant mom that has like a lot more time and energy on her plate even now. So don't worry about it. Don't be too hard on yourself if you're there. And as far as did I ever have a birth plan, I did with Sophie. I was told even before having children that my chances of a vaginal birth were slim to none, but that didn't stop me from wholeheartedly believing that I was going to have a vaginal birth. And it wasn't until like, I think about like 3 weeks before she was due, where it really started setting in that like what our reality basically was. And it was hard because I did have a birth plan. I did want to try to go unmedicated as long as possible, but I'm not totally opposed to the epidural. But my whole thing with that wasn't really anything to do with the drugs, or which I know a lot of people feel very strongly about. For me, it was just mobility. I wanted to be able to get up and walk around and just help labor progress. I didn't want to have to sit in bed. But I was planning on going unmedicated as long as possible and just having a vaginal birth and working through it. Mark and I took childbirth classes, which I think was actually the next question. We did sign up for like, I think it was new parent classes, but honestly there was somebody there who had had a child like 10 years ago, but she took these classes to kind of refresh her. But it was all about the different parts of pregnancy even, and childbirth and breastfeeding and everything. I think they even offered a CPR class, but we were on vacation for that. So it was pretty like all inclusive, and we loved that because it wasn't just about delivery. It was about pregnancy, like I said. And then after pregnancy, obviously we moved into delivery and stuff like that, which they worked on different ways your partner can help you. We did a lot of those exercises, but we also did like breathing and different positions and all kinds of fun stuff. And it was nice because you're with a whole bunch of other couples. And then we also did breastfeeding, like I said, and also newborn care that was thrown in there. So like how to swaddle, how to change a diaper, how to give a bath, the umbilical cord, just different things about newborn care. So that was really cool. And because it was offered by the hospital that we were delivering at, they went over a lot of like their policies for newborn care, which was interesting. Like, so when we had Sophie, we kind of knew when they'd give her a bath, when they would do this, when they would do that. So that was really cool. So I would look into it. You know, if you are planning to deliver at a hospital, I would call their maternity ward and see if they offer any kind of classes, because ours was taught by, I think, I don't know like her actual position name, but it seemed like she was the head nurse of the maternity and labor and delivery, and she was also an IBCLC, so she also taught the the breastfeeding classes. So it was all one person doing it all, and it was really cool. So I would highly recommend it. I think it was only like $40 for our classes, and it was for the both of us. And I think it was like $20 extra if we got the CPR, which we totally would have done, and we should have done. We still could even do it now. It was just such a special time for Mark and I. You know, it was after our miscarriage, so like we were really just so hopeful and happy to have, you know, a living baby that we were going to deliver. And it was just like, I don't know, it was such a special time, and we bonded a lot during that class. It was fun, it was funny, and it was just something we looked forward to. So I would definitely recommend it. Definitely well worth the money, and it's a fun time. It's something different to do. We did it after work. It was a lot of fun, so I definitely recommend it. But I'm gonna get off here so I can film a couple other videos. Let me know if you have any questions down below for the next chit chat video, and also let me know how you guys have been doing. I want to hear if you guys are sick or if you're staying away from the sickness, how everybody in your house is doing. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and as always, thanks for watching.